record, we concluded that she unfortunately does not meet all of the criteria on which the award is based. The board voted to rescind its invitation Friday and also canceled the associated gala event scheduled for February 16th while offering full refunds to those who purchased tickets. Davis, who was born in Birmingham, has been a member of the Black Panther Party and the Communist Party USA, and her calls for divestment and boycotts against Israel on behalf of Palestinians were cited by the Jewish community as a reason for the board's decision to reconsider its decision to present her with the award. SmartCash is a peer-to-peer digital currency that is fast, secure, and easy to use. SmartCash also features Smart Rewards, a price stabilization mechanism, and a way to encourage long-term holding. Long-term holders are key to the project's success. You can earn Smart Rewards on any address for which you hold the private keys, which holds at least 1,000 Smart for 1 month and does not make any outgoing transactions during that time. Smart Rewards are distributed every 47,500 blocks to all eligible addresses. Learn more at smartcash.cc. Reuters reports Alabama's Attorney General asked federal election officials on Monday to investigate allegations that the 2017 U.S. Senate election that Republican Roy Moore lost to Democrat Doug Jones was tainted by use of misleading social media campaigns. Attorney General Steve Marshall has said he was concerned over tactics used in the election. Jones, a former federal prosecutor, became the first Democrat in a quarter century to win a U.S. Senate seat in the state when he upset Moore by a narrow margin to win the seat formerly held by Republican Jeff Sessions. The New York Times reported on Monday that Democratic operatives had sought to undermine Moore by creating a Facebook page claiming that his supporters wanted to ban alcohol in the state. The newspaper has previously reported that Democrats created a separate false flag Facebook page that portrayed Moore as supported by Russian bot accounts. Mike Lewis, a spokesman for the Republican Attorney General, told Reuters on Monday the Attorney General's office has evaluated reports of possible deception in the Alabama U.S. Senate race and has determined the matter to be under the exclusive jurisdiction of the U.S. Federal Election Commission. Lewis said, accordingly, the Attorney General has requested the FEC officials investigate the matter to determine if any federal laws were violated. Moore, whose campaign was marred by allegations that he sexually assaulted and pursued teenage girls while in his 30s, refused to concede the election to Jones and filed an unsuccessful legal challenge to the results, claiming voter fraud. Moore, a former state chief justice, has denied any sexual misconduct or wrongdoing, and Reuters has not been able to independently verify the allegations. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
A report on obesity rates released this week by the CDC confirmed that millions of courageous Americans continue to overcome the media's persistent pressure to be thin. Researchers told reporters that while the vast majority of film and television continues to portray thin, in-shape people, over 30% of Americans remain resolved in their effort to stand up to idealized images of men and women.
Every day, people are inundated with unvarying images of slim men and women, but millions of heroic Americans continue doing their best every day to maintain BMIs 35 or higher. These people aren't afraid to fly in the face popular culture deems acceptable and bravely eat and drink whatever they want, whenever they want.
In other news, the nation's single men announce a plan to change their bed sheets by 2019. A woman who left the room crying earlier expects to jump back into the party just like that. And a courtroom artist is clearly infatuated with the bailiff. This 2.5-minute long session of immersion therapy is finally complete. Your crippling fear of watching video news recaps should no longer be a problem. For more, keep checking theonion.com.
Hey, it is Free Talk Live, and of course you're invited to join us here. The toll-free number for you to take control of the airwaves if you want to get on the radio with us is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. We also have the Discord on-air call-in line rooms over at discord.lrn.fm. You can hop into any one of those, and you'll sound almost like you're sitting here in the studio with us. And with you in the studio, it's Ian.
Aria.
And Mark.
Aria DiMezzo joining us as a special fill-in guest co-host. Our normal guy for this night is Vin Armani, and he is not able to make it in tonight because he's at a Science on Tap event in Nashua, New Hampshire, where Chris Reitman, who's another one of our co-hosts on Thursday nights, was invited since he is the ambassador, the head ambassador of the Bitcoin Embassy New Hampshire, the only Bitcoin embassy in basically the Northeast North America. He was invited to go to basically this kind of like Bitcoin discussion panel event, and it's at a bar, so that's why it's called Science on Tap. So it's kind of like an ongoing series of sciencey oriented tech discussions that they're having. And I said, you know what, Vin would be a great person to have attend with you, because they were asking for other, who else should we have on this panel? So
and you live close.
Yeah, so 2 of our hosts are at the Science on Tap thing tonight, which is very, very cool. And I sent Michael Hampton down with a video camera, so we should be getting video footage of it. It's that way people who want to see what they're missing will be able to do that at some point, probably on the Free Keen YouTube channel. So stay tuned for all that. Speaking of YouTube, coming up, we've got the arrest video of Adam Kokesh, recently arrested in New Orleans for doing the dastardly crime of a little bit of cleaning on the streets of New Orleans.
Very selective cleaning.
Yeah. Well, do you already know what it is?
Yeah.
Have you already seen the video?
Oh, yeah. Well, I haven't seen the video, but I know what.
You know what he was doing?
I know what was done. I'm on some thread or another.
It's pretty creative. I don't want to ruin it for you, so I won't say right now what it is. But I gotta say, I'm a fan of this particular form of. It's basically cleaning and outreach all at the same time. So it's a pretty brilliant little system that he's got put together. But it did get him put behind bars for a few days, and we'll talk to him tonight about that in the third hour of the show. So again, if you want to join us here, the toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, like Freedom. Plus, coming up, Chinese schools enforcing smart uniforms with GPS tracking systems to monitor their students. If you thought that it was bad already with, all the phones, of course, the phone is basically your tracking system. Now they're just going to go ahead and embed that stuff into your clothing, apparently. So look out for that.
Gives whole new meaning to the phrase, that's a smart outfit.
But Mark, you've got an interesting story about a little bit of civil disobedience being conducted by an unusual group of people. The Republicans in office in like the state representatives here in New Hampshire.
That's right. The Republican state reps here in New Hampshire have had all they can stand, and they can't stand no more. Now, I'm going to read through this story, and if you hear any bitterness from the years of people, in some cases the same people or people like these people who complained about the activism that went on in Keene, well, it's completely your imagination.
When you say complained about the activism that went on in Keene, you mean, for listeners that
civil
are maybe new to the
disobedience.
show, you mean that, I guess almost a decade ago, there was kind of a history of civil disobedience. I was regaling Aria with some of the stories of it when we were out at the bar last week for karaoke, just kind of telling some of the fun stories that we've had, because she has yet to see Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree, and if you want to know, if you want to get a real taste, a feel for what the zeitgeist, the spirit of the times was like back then, I got to say that movie encapsulates it perfectly.
Very much
so. You can watch it for free online over at victimlesscrimespree.com. But yeah, there were some instances of civil disobedience, always peaceful, always, involving nonviolent actions like smoking cannabis in the Central Square here in downtown Keene, New Hampshire. There were some other, there was one that really technically wasn't civil disobedience that even happened before the pot smoking. There was a young lady who walked topless with open carrying a firearm down Main Street and was subsequently arrested. And then the police released her and dropped the charge and apologized. So it's very rare that the police will arrest somebody. Like, for instance, we could ask Adam tonight if the police apologized to him after they dropped the charges on him, because that apparently is what happened. Most of the time, the cops will never apologize for what it is they did. In this case, they actually did. So technically, that wasn't civil disobedience. But there are a bunch of different examples of this. And Mark, what your point is here that I think you're trying to make is that there's a certain group of people who they were completely against civil disobedience. It was always, well, if you don't like the system, you got to work to change it. Got to work to get elected, and Well,
honestly, they've only been against civil disobedience when you and the people in Keene did it.
Well, there really wasn't much other civil disobedience.
Well, I'm sorry, but I've got to say that the Dennis Goddard, a good member in good standing of the New Hampshire Liberty Alliance and one-time amplifier of this show, who has made a huge fuss about you and probably is one of the pivotal people that got you kicked out of the Free State Project.
He did start a petition against me.
Was very clear that we should, when testifying regarding the seatbelt law that he thought was going to be passed at one point 10 years ago or something, that we threatened civil disobedience by choosing not to wear our seatbelts.
Okay. So it was okay when he did it.
That's the case.
Okay.
And
Gotcha.
it's okay here when Jess Edwards, who I believe has been named New Hampshire Liberty Alliance's Legislator of the Year and deserves it. If he wasn't,
I don't think they've named that for 2019.
A plus then.
Yeah, that's probably true.
So
it was Mike Sylvia, who's a Free Talk Live listener and supporter, who was.
I thought there were several of them that got it.
No, there's only one Legislator of the Year.
All right, then
hence the name Legislator of the Year.
Yeah, well,
as in there's only one.
Times Man of the Year at one point was like, I don't know, the whole group of people.
Okay.
So anyway, that can be done. Nonetheless, Jess Edwards is a member in good standing of the A plus A folks over there at New Hampshire Liberty Alliance, and frankly, a great legislator. I'm just trying to point out that, hey, all the shade y'all been throwing at us for so long.
Well, I don't know if Jess Edwards is throwing shade.
No, not him. No, certainly not. But do you think he is supported in this? I'll go ahead and read here. I suspect he is supported by people who would, if you suggested something like this, call it outrageous.
Maybe. Does he get into in this letter? Was it the Concord Monitor where this was published?
Yep.
In this letter, does he explain why they're doing this?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
So here we go. Concord Monitor, Jess Edwards. Contrary to the popular belief, the New Hampshire House will not be a gun-free zone. Any violent extremist who thinks that they've become a soft target needs to reassess the situation. So recently, the Democrats took over the New Hampshire House and the Senate, and it used to be that legislators could carry concealed weapons in the House, including, actually not just legislators, people could carry weapons, concealed or otherwise.
There's no security whatsoever. A lot of state houses, you got to go through metal detectors to even get in the front door.
Yeah.
In New Hampshire, you just waltz right in with an open carrying a gun on your hip, or however you want to carry.
They took a pocket knife from me in Florida when I went into the state house in Florida. So yeah, absolutely. But here in New Hampshire, at one point relatively recently, it was completely fine to walk in, I suppose, with an M16 slung over your shoulder.
I've never seen it, but technically you should be able to.
Yeah. I don't think it's a good idea, but that's just my opinion.
Yeah.
My opinion doesn't really set the rules. And
so concealed or open, it's legal. It had been legal in the state house, but something changed
It
recently.
keeps ping-ponging back and forth, and basically the Democrats are like, we hate guns, they're bad, scary, scary. And the Republicans are like, must have guns, stop crime, right? And it just goes back and forth and back and forth. And the legislators themselves are disallowed from carrying guns. Now, I have to agree with the Republicans here. You're telling me that the people of the great state of New Hampshire elected me to be at this house. I have a concealed carry permit in the state of New Hampshire.
Which you don't need now in New Hampshire, by the way.
Right, but I'm just saying that if that was the situation, if I had been assessed by my local law enforcement agency as being acceptable or whatever, paid my fee, and had a concealed carry permit, now you people are going to say that I can't carry it in here? That sounds ridiculous.
This is the change, as I understand it, is they've passed what's called a rule for it. So this isn't a law, it's a rule for the state house specifically that prohibits not only the state legislators but also the people from bringing guns into the chamber and like certain antechamber areas. So they haven't prohibited guns from the whole state house, but the room in which they do their arguing and voting, that's one of the rooms where it is a no-no. More coming up here, and Jess Edwards has a response.
Yes.
Do you operate a retail business and are looking for a solution for point-of-sale cryptocurrency acceptance? It's never been easier thanks to AnyPay.Global. There's no paperwork or approval process to open an account. If you already have a tablet at your cash register, you're almost done. Just sign up at AnyPay.Global. Drop your personal crypto wallet addresses in our setup page, and then load our app. That's it. You're accepting cryptocurrency like Bitcoin and Dash at your store. Get started now at AnyPay.Global. That's AnyPay.Global.
Bitcoin.com is delighted to announce their latest partnership with the gift card specialists at eGifter. With many of the world's leading brands on their roster, it is now easier than ever to get the gift cards of your favorite brands with Bitcoin Cash. To get started, just follow these simple steps. Visit giftcards.bitcoin.com, pick the gift card you want, follow the instructions on your screen, and make your payment using your Bitcoin Cash wallet. Sit tight and your gift card will be delivered to you as soon as it's ready. That's giftcards.bitcoin.com.